I want to give you a compost update. You know, this year, my big goal all last season and this season was to really be much more, well, I'm not completely self-sufficient in compost, but I'm getting closer. Last year, I only had enough compost homemade to do about 2.5 of my large beds in my big garden. This year, I actually got about 80% of the inside of the garden done with my homemade compost. So I'm very, very, very pleased about that. Moreover, if you've been watching my channel or if you want to check out my other compost videos, I just want to give you an update on how things went and are going with my current compost operations. As you see behind me, I have 3 bays going at the moment. I did have over in the wire pen, I had some hot compost going. You may remember that from the grape must from the winery from this fall's crush. Later, or actually a few weeks ago, I guess, Sage and I took that compost that was in there and combined it with the other hot compost pile that we'd built at the same time. They had compressed down quite a lot, and we moved those into this center and filled it all the way up. Let me show you how much it's composted down. Now, our hot compost got up to about 140 degrees. The one bin and the wire mesh stayed at that level for about, well, both of them stayed at the very hot compost phase for about 2 weeks and then went into their cooler phases. So since then, we built another hot compost pile on the far right, and this one right behind me is the one I've just been building since cleaning out my garden. Now, this particular bin, had good compost, usable compost in it, and that is what I use to do my lower gardens. So I'm really super happy because that is more compost than I had ever made before. And I also found that of the hot compost bin with the grape moss, the first one that we did, at the very bottom, there had also been some leaf mold in there as well. And that was usable. And I had about probably this much usable compost in the bottom of that wire bin, which I also used this year. So that is super, super, super exciting to me that now I know that I can take that grape must left over from the crush at the winery and plow that right into my compost and boost my compost production quite a lot. So next year I'll really be on that. Probably will end up with more bins. Let me show you how these bins are progressing. I know this is kind of compost geek stuff, but you know, that's where I'm at, kind of becoming a compost geek. This is what happens when you get older. You'll notice that we made the air shafts. Now this bin had filled all the way up. This is where we combined the 2 hot compost piles. Since that time, we have turned it once, and it did begin to heat up again. It's actually warm-ish even now. It's been up around 80, and even though the days are quite warm now. And you'll also notice that I got some things sprouting in here. This is probably from the hay that we used or the straw that we used in here. We'll just pull them. I'll have to come in and treat this like a bed. This is getting close to being finished. You know, I can smell that it doesn't smell like anything except compost, and you're seeing it really come together in a nice, firm way. See? Bin number 2, I guess. This had also been filled all the way up. It's hot composted for about, I don't know, probably, maybe a good full week, and then the temperature began to drop, and it has not gone back up. We could probably give this a turn, and we might get some action out of it, but this will probably just compost down as well. So this is, just to remind you what I have done, we did is just drill holes in the PVC drain pipe, and that is providing a nice aeration in the center of the pile. So this one was filled all the way up to the top, and it has, you can see, gone down quite a bit. This pile is our current pile that we're filling up. Most of it is stuff from the garden, pull out and clean up, but we also add our kitchen scraps in here as well. Now, last year, I did gather up leaves and put them in my wire cages, and I think I'm going to do that again, not all over my entire property, because I did notice that when we scooped up so many leaves, we had fewer fireflies this year. But my next door neighbor likes to blow her leaves out of her yard. And so I just said, blow them in a pile and I will come and get them. And I'll just put them in the wire bins and they will compost down over time. I actually use them to mix in with the hot compost. and that seemed to really help as well. So, all right, so much for geeking out on compost today. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.